Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Blissful Living Podcast. This is Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, the queen of feeling fabulous. And I have a wonderful show for you today. My guest is Wendy Watson. And, just to give you a little bit of insight, a little tease, like a little foreplay, I do like to do that. We're going to be talking about what is your love legacy. Ooh wee. So while I take care of some business, I like to tell you all to find a place to sit, get something to write with, get your favorite beverage. Today I'm drinking a citrus carrot green juice, not green, orange juice. But tell your family also to give you a few moments so you can engage and embrace the information that's going to be shared. Okay. While you're doing that, let me thank our sponsors, Blissful Living for You at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U.com. They have some amazing things going on, particularly a virtual summit that's coming up. You definitely want to check it out. If you are looking to, just really enhance your life and have the unstoppable path to wellness to elevate your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual vitality, then you want to check out this summit coming up. But get the deets by going to the website, www.blissfulliving, the number 4, the letter U.com, as well as the fabulous things that they have for you during this time of the year to help you look fabulous and fine as we shed those clothes and expose more skin. All right, so check them out. Next sponsor is All Day Cable Inc. at alldaycableinc.com. It's a premier telecommunications installation company, woman-owned, minority-owned, located in Silicon Valley, been in business for 35 years. And they install voice data and fiber optic cabling, as well as basically setting up your complete network distribution so that when you make the connection with your customer, you're able to make that connection the first time with the latest and greatest technology on how we telecommute and communicate today. So if you're looking for a company that's been around, premier, 100% completion of projects on time and within budget, and is a woman-owned company, and you definitely want to check out All Day Cable Inc. at alldaycableinc.com. Okay, so now we get to jump into the show. And again, if you love the show, subscribe to it, share it with everyone you know and care about. So let me tell you about my guest today, Miss Wendy Watson. She is a spiritual relationship mentor and CEO of TBR Spiritual Health, dedicated to empowering individuals to create their love legacy, a lasting impact of love, connection, and authenticity that transforms the lives and inspires others. Now, Wendy guides her clients on transformational journeys of healing, spiritual alignment, and personal growth, helping them to cultivate healthy, fulfilling relationships inside and out. Now, as a 5th-generation entrepreneur and a 2023 finalist, for the BBB Torch Awards for Ethics, author of Verbal Turbulence, the 7-20-10 Rule, and a seasoned speaker, Wendy brings a wealth of expertise and insight to her work. She specializes in nurturing self-worth, repairing relationships, strengthening intuition, equipping her clients with practical tools and compassion and guidance to build meaningful connections and align their lives with their core values. And so I am happy to welcome Wendy to the Blissful Living Podcast. Hi, Wendy. How are you?
I'm wonderful, beautiful queen. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Well, you're very welcome. Now, I'm super excited about this topic, and I want to jump in because, when we think of a legacy, I'm thinking, financial wealth legacy, business legacy. I'm not necessarily thinking about a love legacy. So, what does love legacy mean?
How are you demonstrating to people how you want to be loved and how you choose to love? Right? So thinking about your kids, your grandkids, your spouse, how are you teaching your kids how to love? How are you showing that through demonstration with your spouse through demonstration with your clients at work or your own parents, or, how are you showing that in order to leave a legacy of love that you want to continue with, right? So just like leaving a legacy in business and, holding that vision and that mission for your business, it's the same thing with being that intentional and that focus about what kind of love legacy you want to leave with your kids. And hopefully they will continue that same love legacy, right?
Wow, I love that. I love that. You had me thinking about, dang, how was I loving my kids when they were growing up?
Right. How are you showing them? Yeah. And how are you showing them that you love yourself?
Right. That's
go ahead. Sorry.
Girl, that's an eye opener. Because it has you thinking about, like, for me particularly, I know I'm not a very affectionate person. I don't show affection by hugs and, all that touchy-feely stuff. That's not me. I was born like that, right? But with my kids, which is interesting, I did that, which is really interesting. I wasn't like my mom. She was just like, oh my gosh, right? But with my kids, I did do that because I wanted them to know I love them, I appreciated them. I think also when the context of love for me, it's having that person that is your ride or die, that you can connect with, that feels you, that is in tune to you, that is responsive to you without you having to, quote unquote, ask for a lot of things. And it comes in a lot of different forms, right? So the touchy-feely, I may not be that touchy-feely, but I will go, it's my show, I will go balls to the walls for people that I love and care about. You know what I mean? I would go beyond the call of duty, and they know it. So this is very, girl, this is going to be interesting.
So how are you?
Quick break. Right. We got to take a quick break, but we'll be right back, because hold that thought, okay? We'll be right back to the Blissful Living Podcast. Woo! Okay, this is Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous, and welcome back to the Blissful Living Podcast. I'm talking to Wendy Watson about love legacy. So, Wendy, before we took a break, you were getting ready to say something. Go, girl.
So how are you communicating that is your love language? So that they understand that because you don't lead with the affection and the touchy-feely, that your actions is your love language, right? So for me, part of leaving a love legacy is communicating what my love languages are, what I know how to give, what I need in return, all of those things. So if somebody is expecting a lot of lovey-touchy, affectionate hand-holding, but that's not my style, am I communicating that so that they understand what my love language is, so that they understand how I'm loving them?
Wow. Interesting. I mean, I don't think I've had too much problems, but I do know that there are people that will say, I need you to hug me. I need you to hold my hand. I need lots of hugs and kisses in public or whatever. And, or that's what I desire. That's, how they know their love. And for me, I think it's all about, when I need something, you intuitively know it. And it's a weird connection that I've experienced. So it's not far-fetched. I think we all do have that intuition, right? And then, and I need to know that I can count on you. You know what I mean? In the midst, if I can count on you, if I need you to get me that pencil over there on that desk, or I hurt my back and I need you to help me to get dressed. You know what I mean? And I can depend upon you on the good and the bad times, then I know that there's a love connection there. That's for me. Now I was really bad about giving the touchy-feely stuff, but I get it now. You know what I mean? Some people just need that expression. I particularly don't need that expression. I think mine is more a heartfelt, energetic connection, heart, mind, body, soul. something undescribable. But those of you out there that are listening to me, you know this is if this is you or not. So, girl, so with this concept.
I think I dreamt it. This is not like because powers and dreams and messages from above and all the things. And I think I dreamt it one night and just started getting on ChatGPT, and it's like, yeah, what is the legacy that we're leaving with love? How are we demonstrating that with our kids? If we want our kids to love themselves, regardless of outside stuff, how are we demonstrating that? How are we leading with that and loving ourselves first? Because most moms, granted, it's biological, we put our kids first.
Right.
And we put our families first. But then we're not showing them what self-love is, but we're wanting them to do that. Right? So if we want them to do that, we must do it ourselves and lead with that. So how are we incorporating the self-love? How are we showing them what self-love is? Right? Just like we have to show them how to tie their shoes in order for them to learn what tying the shoes mean. If we want them to love themselves, we have to love ourselves.
Yes, I do agree with that. And so I that was one thing that I was really good at, because I know the good, the bad, and the ugly of when we don't put ourselves first. I've seen it, experienced in my family, as well as in my career as a nurse. So I always, probably since the age of 10, put myself first before I kind of started my day. And sometimes I used to get called selfish growing up, because I'm the only girl in a generation of boys. So it was like, but as I became an adult and had kids, I think my kids understood that. For instance, I used to do a morning meditation, and when my daughter was probably 1.5, something, she would hop out of bed. I'd get home from doing a night shift in the ER, doing some trauma in the morning. She'd hop out of bed, like, I don't know, clockwork, and come find me. And I'm like, oh. So I, and I was doing my meditation time. I'd get home, do my meditation, and then I'd be set to, to just love and nurture myself and my family. But she would come find me. So I started hiding in the closet, because it was so important to me to nurture my mind, my body, my spirit before I dealt with the day, so to speak. And even at work at night, when I pulled the night shift in the ER, my lunch or break, I'd go hide in some closet somewhere, or my car, or whatever. And I would, again, meditate to ground the energy of whatever was happening in that chaotic environment. So I do feel that is extremely important to put ourselves first. It's not being selfish.
One of my friends in Phoenix, she raises her kids to know, okay, this 30 minutes, it's mommy time. You do not knock on, unless somebody's bleeding and we have to call 911. You do not knock on this door. You do not come in here. This is mommy's self-care, self-love time. You have daddy. Daddy can figure things out. You don't need me for this 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And so I think they actually teach the kids to like block off that time.
I think that's absolutely necessary, and I think it's beautiful. Now, my kids are in their 30s, and the funny thing is, each of them meditate. Not something I taught. They just, they meditate.
You did teach. You taught it by example.
Oh, I mean, I didn't. It wasn't like, okay, let's sit down and meditate, and this is what you do, right? But you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But they picked it up. Like, obviously, they value, and they saw the value in it for me, because it kept the fire within me calm during the day. I'm naturally fiery, but also they, take time to exercise and make themselves a priority before starting the day. So I think it's beautiful. Okay, we have to take another quick break. This is so good. I'm gonna have to bring Wendy back, because this is just too much information for one show. No, I'm just saying, we're gonna do a part 2. But when we come back, I'm gonna ask her, how do our relationships with others, ourselves, and even money shape the legacy we leave behind? And so keep that in your thought. We'll be right back to the Blissful Living Podcast in just a few moments. Okay, we are back to the Blissful Living Podcast. Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous here. And before we took our break, the question I was posing to Wendy is, how do our relationships with others, ourselves, and even money shape the legacy we leave behind?
You know, it's so important, the ingredients that we put into each relationship, right? And how we operate in that relationship, who we collect, who are the people that are in our community. If we have people in our community that are creating conflict, that's going to affect the legacy that you leave, right? If your relationships with money are based off of fear or scarcity or lack of self-worth, that's going to affect our livelihoods and how we're able to support our kids or how we're able to support our parents as they get older, right? So everything to me is connected to the other, right? So being really intentional about who's in your circle, what your ingredients are in each of your relationships. So I talk about relationships like a recipe, right? Everybody makes spaghetti differently. Everybody makes tacos differently. And the beautiful thing about having your own specific recipe is that you created it. It came from your essence. It came from your spirit, and you created that relationship. So whether that's collaboration or affection or playfulness or security, these are all ingredients that we can put in our relationships with money. Like, I want to be affectionate with money. I want my money to be playful with me, but I also want it to be secure. And I also want it to be an ally, right? So being very intentional about those ingredients and how you see it and how you use it. Because trust me, I've been through 2 bankruptcies. I've been through 2 divorces. I've experienced loss. My rental house caught on fire with my renters in it with a 1-year-old child while I was in Israel on the other side of the planet. So if I had allowed any of those experiences to have a negative impact on my money, then I wouldn't be financially successful. I won't be able to have a retirement in 20 or 30 years. I wouldn't be able to travel and do all the things that I want to do. So making sure that I am on top of my relationships and how I'm operating in them is extremely important, whether it's human, my relationship with my emotions, my relationship with vulnerability and judgment, my relationships with money, all of those components.
Wow. Thank you for sharing lots of words of wisdom there, because sometimes I think we compartmentalize each of the certain categories or areas in our life. And the truth is they all ebb and flow. And if we want to create a legacy in one that transcends to the other, we have to really be cognizant about what we're doing, who we're doing it with, and how we're doing it. And I think that's a huge key to having that legacy of love, not only with yourself, but with others, as well as even with money, so that you can leave that lasting legacy behind. That means once you leave. Now, my next question, Wendy, is this: why is a legacy, why is legacy often associated with wealth or achievement?
I think that's the old way of thinking, that's just the way most people have just associated with it. And I think with the way humans are evolving right now and moving into more a higher consciousness and being just more conscious about our choices and our livelihood, especially from COVID, that helped us reprioritize our entire lives and really put a focus on how we want to prioritize our lives. And I think with that and all the things, humans are thinking differently. And I think we're thinking more on a conscious level now. and seeing that we are all connected and seeing that we all have an effect on each other, or that we can have an effect on each other, and how important mental health is these days, and social impact, and being so inclusive is just so much more important than just the money and just the business legacy, that we're starting to see legacy in different terms and different perspectives and different views.
Very interesting. Again, I love it because it basically, it's what you share with us is it's an evolutionary process that we're going through. We are in the age of Aquarius, and so in the age of Aquarius, one of the things is awareness beyond ourselves and transformation, and things rapidly are going to speed up, and so hopefully we become more conscious of what we're doing and how we're doing it, in not necessarily in the wealth capacity, but then in our lives. When I pass, I want somebody to say, "Oh, she was a girl full of fire, but she loved hard and dearly, and she did all of these wonderful things." Not, "Oh, she was a rich bitch and was nasty, and when you talked to her, she was, she didn't have time for you, and she thought she was better than this, even if I wasn't a rich bitch." You know what I'm saying? It's like, how people can be. It's all about the impressions you leave upon people, and so it's very impactful, particularly in this day and age when so many people are, I hate to be sounding woo-woo, but I'm that type of chick, when so many people are awakening, their third eyes beginning to awaken a bit, and it's showing us some things that may have scared previous generations. Not the ones way back, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So very, very interesting. We got to take another quick break. We'll be right back to the Blissful Living Podcast. Stay tuned. Okay, we are back. Me and my 17 personalities along with Wendy. And I'm like, people are like, okay, it's you and her. Well, yeah, we got something going on here beyond what y'all can see. Now I want to ask you this, Wendy. How does I want to go, since I kind of was talking about relationships and stuff. Let me ask you this. What are the 7 essential relationships we must nurture to create a love legacy, and why are they so vitally important to us?
Oh my gosh, I love that question, because they're, establishing these are really important. So money, right? Love. And you're kind of putting me on the spot. I haven't thought about these in a minute. Judgment, vulnerability, emotions, mindset, and I know that there's one more. It'll come to me.
Let's talk about, because you know how things we are. Mine is going 90,000 miles a minute. So let's talk about some of those that you did share. We kind of touched on them, but what's the vulnerability?
I was just gonna say that. You're reading my mind. It's really important. I find that it's really important to view vulnerability as a strength, right? So many people see vulnerability as a weakness, or maybe an insecurity, or just not a positive thing. But more and more people are sharing their stories. And when you share your stories, other people realize that they're not alone, that they're not the only ones going through whatever it is that they're going through. Everybody, when I talk about my bankruptcies, there's so many people out there that have been through a bankruptcy. When I talk about my divorces, how many people have gone through a divorce in some way, shape, or form? And I use the term divorce lightly, like these are marriage divorces. But sometimes we get divorced from a career. Sometimes we get divorced from a best friend that we've had for 10, 20 years.
Right.
We've all been through some sort of a divorce. Sometimes when we get stuck, we think we're the only ones going through, or I'm going through this alone, or nobody's going to understand what I'm going through in this moment because this is me. So the more we can share our stories, the more we can be vulnerable and say, hey, I've experienced imposter syndrome. Hey, I've experienced being broke and being on an extremely tight budget. It helps us to feel connected. It helps us to realize that we're all authentic, that we're all going through similar things. It may not be the characters and the environment, and the plot might be a little bit different, just like most of the movies, but the journey is still very much similar to what we're all going through. And then when we really want to feel socially connected, when we really want to help people, especially our kids, right? If we want our kids to listen to us and be like, hey, don't put the finger in that socket. I've done it before, right? Being vulnerable to say, I've done it before and it hurts. I know that it hurts and I don't want you to hurt. So let me share my experience with this so that you can understand where I'm coming from. You can understand my journey, and hopefully part of that will help you make better decisions.
What, again, wonderful, wonderful information. And we're at the close of our show, but we'll bring Wendy back to you all. But it's so true. Sometimes we're going through stuff and we think it's just us. Going to the bank and realizing you don't have no money in your bank account, getting it pulled over and getting a ticket, or, just stuff, right? And sometimes we don't want to be vulnerable and sharing. When you do, it's like, oh, girl, I went through that. I'm going through that, or and you realize that you're not the only person in the planet. And of course, you don't want to be too, share too much, because there's people that
right. The TMI is a thing.
Yeah. But when you do come from your heart, there you'll find that other people are sometimes going through the same experience, and together you guys, by being vulnerable with each other and sharing, you're able to support and make each other strong individually and collectively. And so I love that. Okay, you all, we have to go. I will bring Wendy back, because this is a deep conversation that I think we need to have more of in today's society, because we all think we're by ourselves and but we're not. We really are connected in more ways than we can ever imagine. And so I want to thank all of you for listening and tuning in. Share the show if you love, and subscribe it. Wendy will be back, I promise. I want to thank our sponsor, Blissful Living for You at Blissful Living, the number 4, the letter U, and All Day Cable Inc. at alldaycableinc.com. This is Dr. Rochel Marie Lawson, the Queen of Feeling Fabulous. And today, I'm wishing you peace to your mind, tranquility to your spirit, and a beautiful essence to your day. Go out and be absolutely fabulous. Take good care, and bye for now.